Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Menasce. On today's show, we're going to take a look at a day in the life of Victor. A number of you have asked questions about how I spend my day, so I'm going to outline my day today, chosen at random. Today was not a fully typical day because it was U.S. Thanksgiving, which meant that our U.S. team was out of the office and our Canadian team was still hard at work. But in essence, today was like any other day, filled with communications with team members, deliverables, surprises, and all the other things that make up a typical day. As with most days, I'm clear on what my objectives are for the day. I usually have 2 to 3 big rocks that I intend to complete. It's pretty common for the day to be full of surprises, especially when projects are in construction. So I make sure that I have clear time available to answer any requests for information that come in from the field before the first staff meeting starts at 9:15 in the morning. My 3 big objectives for today were number 1, to outline the sales center strategy and sales process for our condo building project. Number 2, to complete the consulting proposal for a potential client who's building an employee housing project at a ski resort. And number 3, discuss logistics with suppliers for delivery of key components like structural steel, trusses, and beams for a construction project. Of course, I do more than 3 things in any given day, but those 3 items will get done no matter what, at least I hope that's the case. I started off my day on the phone with suppliers of PVC pipe that we can bury in the ground. This pipe is not commodity pipe that you can buy at your local big box store. And after arranging the supply of this critical material, it was time to jump on our daily staff meeting. Today's staff meeting, we reviewed 4 projects. We updated everyone on the status of conversations with some of our development partners on our condo tower. We reviewed the financial model of one of our residential subdivision designs. In that conversation, we looked at the merits of various exit strategies. We have a choice of selling some of the land to home builders versus constructing the project fully ourselves. We also updated the financial model with the latest view of cost of the horizontal improvements. These are the utilities that get buried in the ground in a subdivision. We also reviewed the costs associated with an environmental issue that we're dealing with on another property. Part of the meeting included a rather spirited discussion between members of the team as to whose responsibility it was to mark off items in our project management software once they're completed. The discussion uncovered a lack of clarity between the role of a project manager and the owner of a deliverable. Who is actually responsible for closing that item? What happens when something is tracked outside the project management software? It was clear we needed to have an offline meeting to get that resolved. After the staff meeting, I hopped in the car and went to a face-to-face meeting with a dear friend who also happens to be one of the city's top realtors. She used to be the in-house salesperson for one of the city's major builders and understands the pre-sales process very well, in addition to being an expert on the sales process to our target client. Our client base regularly purchases higher-end homes in the multi-million-dollar figures, and the discussion centered around how much to invest in a local traditional sales center with mock-ups of kitchens and bathrooms versus a 3D virtual rendering system that can show walkthroughs of all of the unit designs, not just 1 or 2. Some foreign buyers who are not local to the market would in fact buy directly from a 3D tour using an online consultation. See, the pandemic environment has forced greater use of these tools, which have proven themselves effective in the sales process. We also talked about when to engage buyer agents in the sales process versus selling direct to consumers. See, when you're selling to high-end customers, they often want to customize the interiors to their own tastes. That's both a problem and an opportunity for a developer. Upgrades can be a significant profit center, but managing the upgrades process with clients that can be very particular can also delay a project. We spent nearly 2 hours looking at various options for the design of the sales center, the design center, and the timing of the pre-construction sales process. In the middle of that strategy session, I fielded a call from the construction site to clarify the dimensions on a drawing. We managed to catch what might have been an error in the construction before concrete forms were completely in place and cement was poured. A quick lunch from a drive-thru followed that meeting with a drive to the other side of the city to pick up about $500 of PVC pipe that was urgently needed by the foundation contractor at one of our projects. And naturally, I spent the entire drive on the phone. I was busy lining up staff to visit an antique dealer to source furniture for a restaurant project and providing guidance on what type of furniture we were looking for. When I finally made it back to the office in the middle of the afternoon, we had an internal Zoom meeting to review the consulting proposal for a few hundred units of employee housing at a ski resort. I wanted to make sure we had the right deliverables specified in the proposal and a cost to the client that we felt would be attractive and deliver real value for them, as well as reflecting the amount of work that would actually go into completing what they needed. Then the rest of the afternoon was spent calling suppliers for beams and structural steel to make sure that we would get the lead times we needed for our construction project. I wrapped up the day working on my podcast, that is, this episode you're listening to right now. I did manage to get my 3 big rocks completed for today. That doesn't happen every day. Sometimes I do lose control. But today was a great day from a productivity perspective. So hopefully that gives you a little glimpse, a little insight into a day in the life of Victor. As you think about that, have an awesome rest of your day. Go make some great things happen. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow.